Welcome to the Private School Leader Podcast, where private school leaders learn how to thrive and not just survive as they serve and lead their schools. I strongly believe that it is possible to have a long and happy and fulfilling career as a private school leader, and my passion is to help you figure out exactly how to do just that, right here on the Private School Leader Podcast. And I'm your host, Mark Minkus. So, for years, the same thing happened to me every afternoon. And I wonder if this has ever happened to you. So I'd work really hard all day at school, and then, I would leave way later than I wanted to leave. And I would kind of go out that side door, and I'd walk across the playground area, and my car was parked on a side street, and I would walk to my car, and I'd get in my car and sit down behind the steering wheel, and I would just kind of sit there for a moment. And I would have this thought, and I would ask myself this question: what did I actually get done today? And it was really, really hard to answer that question. And some of the time, or most of the time, I would just say to myself, I was really busy, but I don't really feel like I accomplished much today, and so many interruptions, and I just would sit there and, then I'd start my car and I'd drive home. And most days that was kind of how I felt at the end of the school day. Had worked really hard, but what did I actually get done today? And then, I don't know about you, but then I would start wishing. I wish I could work on my own work before the school gets quiet. I wish I didn't have so many interruptions. I wish I could get more of my priorities done. I wish that I felt more productive. And so, if you've ever felt this way at the end of the day, if you've ever wished that you felt more productive during a school day, I've got great news, because on today's episode of the Private School Leader Podcast, we are going to learn some productivity lessons from a garden hose, specifically how to go from mist to jet. So before we jump into that, if you're listening in real time, you're wrapping up a school year, and congratulations on that, by the way. And this time of year, June, sometimes we're just, so glad to have wrapped up that year and try and take a breath before we think about diving into the next school year. I always say that the finish line is also the starting line. The finish line for one school year is the starting line for the next school year, and that's hard. But I wonder, because sometimes, during the summer, I was just talking about kind of wishing about being more productive, or maybe, you think about it and you think, well, this is the year. This is the year that I'm finally going to get into classrooms more often. Or, this coming school year, this is the year where I'm going to have better boundaries between school and home. Or this is the year where I'm going to be more productive. And this is the year I'm going to be more proactive and less reactive. Well, I want that to be the truth about this coming school year for you. But I have to ask you, what is your plan? What is your plan to make this coming school year different and better than the one that just ended? Well, I want to help you. I've got just two summer leadership coaching spots open, and I would like to work with you one-on-one. And I can work with you this summer and make this next school year the best year of your career. I strongly believe that I can deliver that. Don't take my word for it. You can go to theprivateschoolleader.com/coaching and read testimonials from over 24 clients, coaching clients. Just if you want to know more, just email me at mark.o.minkus@gmail.com, mark.o.minkus@gmail.com. We'll hop on a 20-minute discovery call. It's free to you, and I want to hear more about your plan, or more about your biggest struggle, or more about your biggest goal or your wish or your dream. And let's talk. Let's work together. So privateschoolleader.com/coaching, or shoot me an email at mark.o.minkus@gmail.com. And then I want to give you a free gift like I try to do every episode. And again, I was mentioning about how we think about things in the summer. I wonder, what was teacher morale like between January and June at your school? Maybe it was awesome. I hope it was awesome. But if you want to improve teacher morale, I have a free gift for you, and it's called the 7 Secrets to Improving Teacher Morale. And we're always looking for ways to do it, but it's really hard to figure out how and where to begin. And I've got a step-by-step plan for you. And you can grab that at theprivateschoolleader.com/morale. That's free for you. The 7 Secrets to Improving Teacher Morale at theprivateschoolleader.com/morale. All right. So, the productivity lesson from a garden hose. And you probably have a garden hose at your house. And the next time that you use it, I want you to look at it. I want you to look at that nozzle at the end of the hose, because most garden hoses that I've seen in the past 10 years, the nozzle is the same. And it has 5 different settings. It has mist, shower, flat, cone, and jet. I don't know who came up with these. I don't know how that, we landed on that. But the ones that I see, there's 5 settings: mist, shower, flat, cone, and jet. And you know what mist is like. You pull back on that handle, and the water just kind of, obviously, in a mist, kind of just goes everywhere, and it's scattered, and it's like, the word I think of is like dispersed or dispersion, and it just kind of goes out there. It's great for, looking and seeing a rainbow in it, because if you happen to be using the hose on a sunny day, but it doesn't really do a whole lot, right? So it's pretty to look at, and it's sometimes fun, and if you've got some delicate flowers, that's a good way to water them so you don't break them or whatever. But mist, does it really do what you want your hose to do? So that's one setting. But there's another setting called jet. Now, this is the same hose. You know that when you pull on that handle, when you squeeze that handle and it's jet, you better be careful where you're aiming that hose, because it is going to come out and it is going to have high pressure, high energy, high direction, very specific destination. And, it's going to do a lot. A lot of people, when they use jet, they're using that to maybe hose off their driveway from mulch, or from after cutting the grass, or whatever the case might be. But I want you to think about how mist and jet, it's the same hose. It's the same amount of water going through the hose. It's the same pressure when you pull that handle. Same amount of effort as far as squeezing. You don't have to squeeze harder for jet to the water to come out in jet. You just have to have it set on jet. So we've got 2 completely different results: mist and jet. Why? It's because of where the energy of the water is concentrated. Is it just coming out of every single tiny little hole on the nozzle of this hose and it's mist? Or is it coming out of one and it's super focused, it's super directed, it's super intentional for a super specific destination? And let's face it, I think you've already figured out this is a pretty easy thing to apply to our day as a private school leader. Most of us spend our day in mist. And it's not because you're a bad leader. It's not because you're disorganized. I just think it's because our private schools are naturally complex, busy places that lead us towards having our energy kind of a little bit everywhere, right? Isn't that what mist is on the end of your hose? Is a little bit everywhere. So you've got your energy at the beginning of a day, and a little bit goes everywhere. Emails, questions, interruptions, parents, teachers, student discipline, maintenance, admissions, board report, technology. We could make a list of 100 things. And so your energy is dispersed all over the place, right? But when we spread our energy over 50 different things during our school day, then that's why I had that feeling sitting behind the steering wheel of my car. What the heck did I get done today? Because we feel exhausted, but we certainly don't feel like we got anything done. We don't feel effective. And so obviously the point of this episode is to, how do we go from mist, which I think we all can relate to, how do we go from that to jet? How do we become more productive? So the first step is I want to give you a couple of reasons why I think leaders get stuck in mist mode. Let's call it mist mode. Reason number one is because everyone else is defining your priorities. Everyone else is defining your level of urgency. And think about your email inbox. I've told you before that I believe that your email inbox is a chronological list of everyone else's priorities. And we spend a lot of time in our email inboxes. I believe our email inbox is where productivity goes to die. Because when we come back from somewhere, we're out and about in the school, and we're a little tired, we're a little distracted, and we sit down at the desk, and we've got that look on our face that's the same look as a teenager staring into a refrigerator, hoping for a snack to magically appear and jump into their mouth. That's the look that you have on your face when you come back from somewhere, and you're sitting there and you're kind of wondering, what do I do? Do you know what 95% of us do? We open our email inbox and we start working on everyone else's priorities. That's one of the main reasons that we're stuck in this mist mode, is because we are spending too much time in our email inboxes. And I'll get to that in a minute on how to fix that. But also, most of us have an open door policy, and people appear in our doorways and say, hey, do you have a minute? It is never 60 seconds when someone says, do you have a minute? And so if we're not careful, and I would say that most of us aren't careful, if we're not careful, our entire day just becomes reacting to other people's urgency, other people's priorities. And so that is mist mode right there. Just think about your energy, and you're going through the day, or you're even at your desk, and you're the hose. What's coming out? It's mist. It's going everywhere. Your energy is going everywhere. That's one reason we get stuck in mist mode, is because everyone else is defining our priorities and our urgency. Reason number two that we get stuck in mist mode is that we sometimes confuse being busy with being productive. And I think that I call this the productivity trap. Feeling busy. Okay, well, this goes back to our email inbox. One of the reasons that we are when we're sitting there and we have that blank stare on our face and we're not sure what to do next, one of the reasons that almost all of us almost always open our email inbox is because we feel productive. We need to feel productive. And the brain doesn't know the difference between a high value task, like finishing that board report or doing something about, an enrollment issue or something proactive that's important, writing up that teacher observation. The brain doesn't know the difference between a high value task and a low value task, because you get the same dopamine hit from responding to 4 or 5 emails as you do working on an important task. And so, of course, when we're tired, cognitive load, decision fatigue, emotional energy expended, of course we're going to go for the low-hanging fruit. That's the productivity trap. It feels productive to answer emails. It feels productive to go to meetings, but I think that it's an illusion. It's the illusion of progress. I love magicians. I love the sleight of hand, like when they can do those up close magic, up close card tricks. But it's all an illusion. Magic's not real. They're just really good at what they do, but being busy gives us an illusion of being productive. It's not real. And then reason number 3 that I think we stay stuck in mist mode is because we become professional firefighters. My nephew is a professional firefighter. I know a couple of other people that do that for a living. Now, some fires need to be put out during the school day, of course. But I think that we spend our whole day and our whole career that most of the time we become these like elite professional firefighters. They have competitions where different fire departments will compete against each other with events where they're, climbing a building with a ladder, and when they've got this giant thing that looks like a keg of beer, and maybe it is a keg of beer, and they're firing their hose at it, and it's kind of a tug of war thing, and all these competitions, and then someone is crowned like the best firehouse, the best firefighters. Private school leaders, we're the pros, right? We're the professional firefighters. We're so busy responding to today's emergency and putting out today's fire that we never can proactively build a system that prevents those same fires from happening again tomorrow. And I want that to sink in, so I'm going to say it again. We are so busy responding to today's emergencies and today's fires that we never build systems that prevent those fires from happening again tomorrow. And reason number 4 why we're stuck in mist mode is because we are rescuing instead of helping. And so here's what happens. And I've did this for years, right? Someone brings us a problem, we solve it. Someone else brings us a problem, we solve it. The third person and the fourth person and the fifth person bring us a problem and we solve it because we're really, really good at solving problems. But then the lesson that everybody learns is that she is really good at solving problems. Let's take all our problems to her. Or he is really good at solving problems. Let's take all our problems to him. And you've heard me talk about it, that you go around the school or people bring them to your office, they're handing you these crying babies. And we're like, gimme, gimme, gimme. And then we go back to our office with 11 crying babies. And we didn't listen but give it back. Okay? We just keep taking and keep taking and keep taking it because we think that that's good leadership. But what we're really doing is that we're not empowering our teachers. We're not building resilience. We're not building their problem-solving skills. And quite frankly, we're not having them do things that are reasonable for teachers to do. The number one complaint of my coaching clients across all of my clients is teachers bringing tier 1 issues, behavior issues, academic issues, not wanting to call the parent when it's reasonable for them to do so. The number one complaint of my coaching clients is teachers not handling tier 1 stuff and wanting you as the leader to get involved sooner than you should. You need to listen and give it back, and so that they can do that one more thing and give it a few days, and then if it doesn't work and it starts to creep up to a tier 2, of course you will get involved. But those are the reasons that we sometimes get stuck in this mist mode, right? 4 reasons. Everyone else defines your urgency. Number 2, we confuse being busy with being productive. Reason 3, we have become professional firefighters. And reason number 4 is because we're rescuing instead of helping. And what we really want is jet mode, right? We don't want to be, you're visualizing it, that you're at your desk or you're walking around the school and you are a hose and your head Stick with me here. Your head is the nozzle, and it's just mist everywhere. Mist mode. We don't want that. We want it to be jet mode, concentrated energy, right? Where you're not necessarily working more hours, right? It's the same amount of water going through that hose with mist mode as it is with jet mode. Think about the most effective, productive people that you know, whether it's at school or in your life. They're not working more hours than other people. They're just more effective, more efficient, they're better at directing their attention towards their top things on their list, and they protect their time. They don't allow themselves to be interrupted maybe as much as we do. And yeah, if they have a different job, someone who's a CPA gets interrupted less than a private school leader, okay? So I don't want to compare careers here. What we're going to do is focus on how we can get us out of this mist mode and into jet. And the last thing I want to say before I give you a couple of strategies is that I came across this quote, this phrase, when I was preparing for this episode, and it says that urgency screams, but importance whispers. Urgency screams, but importance whispers. And so urgency is like what's latest and loudest and 6 inches in front of your face, but what's important is like whispering, hey, come over here and spend time investing in this, like classroom visits and building the culture and checking on teachers and building trust and developing your faculty and doing those that strategic planning and proactive thinking and long-range planning and building systems and building relationships. Those are the things at the top of the list of proactive leadership. But they don't yell at us. They don't scream at us. Those things I just named aren't latest and loudest and 6 inches in front of our face. Those are the things that are quietly hiding in your closet, right? So we've got to get our head around urgency and importance and how we can move from mist to jet. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you 4 quick strategies so that we can move from mist to jet. Because remember, we're learning lessons from a garden hose today about productivity, okay? So strategy number 1, identify your 3 must-do tasks every day. Identify your 3 must-do tasks every day. And in episode 7 of this podcast, it's called the 4 productivity hacks of busy private school leaders. I go into a lot of detail as to how to use an index card, the power of the index card, where you're going to choose every morning. And if you're not a morning person, you're going to do it the last thing before you leave the day before. You're going to choose, what are my 3 most important things that I must accomplish today before I leave? Imagine that it's the day before you're going on vacation, or the day before you're going out of town to a conference for 3 days, and you absolutely non-negotiable have to get 3 things done before you leave. What are your 3 most important things? If they're on an index card on your desk next to your laptop or your desktop, and you train yourself to reach for that instead of open your email inbox, it will change your life. It will change your relationship with work. It will change your relationship with urgency. And so the quick flyby version is an index card, 3 tasks, must-do tasks, and you, every time when you want to reach for that email inbox, you reach for the index card instead. But I hope that you will choose to listen to episode 7 of this podcast, and it will give you those 4 hacks, and one of those hacks is the power of an index card. So we're going to identify our 3 must-dos. That's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is to schedule your good intentions. So sometimes when I'm coaching clients, they'll say, well, I want to get into classrooms more, right? And I'll say, okay, share your screen and show me your calendar. And show me where that is on your calendar. Well, they don't want to show me their calendar because it's not on their calendar. And it's like, well, I really want to work on this enrollment issue with we're losing fifth graders going to sixth grade. Like, we're having attrition from fifth to sixth. And I'll be like, okay, where is that on your calendar? Well, I want to do more proactive, long-range strategic thinking. Okay, where is that on your calendar? If it's not scheduled, it's not going to happen. The things on your calendar happen. When you have a meeting with a parent, when you have a meeting with a new teacher, when you have a meeting with a donor, when you have a meeting with fill in the blank. If you teach a class, I know a lot of private school leaders teach a class as well as lead. Those things are on your calendar, and then you show up to those things. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's a magic trick. I will say that if you listen to episode 7, I can, teach you how to do that. But scheduling your good intentions, think about it this way. This past school year, I really wish that I had done more blank. I really wish I had more time to blank. It's really been a long time at school since I've done blank. Most people want to get into classrooms more. That's probably the answer I get from my coaching clients probably 80% of the time, maybe more than 80%. We're going to create margin, and we're going to schedule it, and then we're going to keep that appointment with ourselves to do the thing. The thing that you proactively want to do, you're going to schedule your good intentions. Strategy number 3, to go from mist to jet on this productivity hose that we're talking about today. We're going to ask who before how. And author Dan Sullivan is where I first heard this. You've heard me talk about this before. We have a bias towards problem solving and a bias towards getting things done quickly. And that makes us good at our jobs. But it also makes us immediately jump into problem solving mode. It makes us listen with the intent to respond. And it makes us really crappy at asking the question who instead of how. And I've seen this happen right before my eyes. I've told this story at least twice on the podcast, how I was coaching a client and he got a call on the walkie-talkie about something that was going on, and he stood halfway up out of his chair to go handle it, but then he sat back down and got on the radio and talked to 2 different people and said, can you handle this thing? And to the other person, can you handle this other thing? And they both said yes. And then we continued our coaching session on Zoom. He asked who instead of how. We jump right into how, and we blow right past that stop sign that is who. If we can start asking, we are going to change our margin and our productivity. We're going to empower other people in our building to increase the overall capacity of our school. It's the rising tide that lifts all the boats. And I can hear what some of you are thinking. You're like, you know what? I don't even know where to start. And that's fair. And so in the show notes at theprivateschoolleader.com/episode 190, I'm going to link not only episode 7 that I mentioned before, but also episode 127, which is the 3/3 framework, which if you just follow episode 127 step by step, it will take all of your tasks for the whole school year, even things that you only do once a year, and then you'll power rank them 1 through whatever and draw a line 1/3, 2/3 of the way down. The stuff on the bottom third of that list, then we're going to answer the question who. Part of the reason we don't delegate is because all tasks are created equal unless we take the time to determine which are the most important and which are the least important. Episode 127 gives you a framework to walk you through that. I'm trying to help you, okay? And then finally, strategy number 4 is to reduce interruptions. And I know you just rolled your eyes. I get it. You don't get it. You're not, Mark, you're not at my school. I know. I understand. But just quickly, I'm going to tell you two things. One is that when someone appears in your doorway, immediately stand up. Because you need to start determining, when everyone appears in your doorway and you have this open door policy, you need to start immediately determining, is this a conversation or is this an exchange of information? Because a heads up, or hey, I just wanted you to know, or hey, did you get a chance to ask, blah, 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 that's an exchange of information, and that takes 1 to 2 minutes. But if they come in and they sit down, which is what happens almost all of the time because you're seated, then everything turns into a conversation. And so I know I'm giving you some different episodes. I'm doing that a little more than usual because of the time of year, and that maybe at some point over the next month you might have time if you want to go deep on the stuff that we're talking about in today's episode. I did a whole episode on the strategy behind immediately standing up. That's episode 80, and that'll be in the show notes for you as well. But another way to reduce interruptions is to close your door. Not all day, but you need to start training the office staff, your teachers, that there are going to be some times of the day when your door is closed. That is a super reasonable expectation for someone that has a very busy job in any industry, including being a private school leader, and it is not going to turn you into an elitist in your C-suite corner office that ignores all of the, little peasants that work at your school. That's just a story you're telling yourself. Sometimes you need to close your door to reduce interruptions when you're doing deep work. So what are the takeaways from today's episode? Well, there's 4 ways to move from mist to jet. Number 1, identify your 3 must-do tasks every day. Number 2, schedule your good intentions. Number 3, ask who before how. And strategy number 4 is to reduce interruptions. And your call to action for this week is to listen to episode 7, the top 4 productivity hacks for busy private school leaders. At some point in the next 2 weeks, listen to episode 7, and it will make a big difference for you. Quick reminder, the 7 secrets to improving teacher morale. You can grab that for free at theprivateschooleader.com/morale. And a second reminder that I have just 2 summer coaching spots open right now, and I would love to work with you. Email me, mark.o.minkus@gmail.com. We'll hop on a 20-minute discovery call. It's free. Want to meet you, want to talk to you, want to see and hear more about your school year. What's your biggest struggle? What would you like to do more of? What would you like to do it? How would you like to do it better? Shoot me an email, mark.o.minkus@gmail.com. If you get help from the podcast, I'd love it if you would share the link to the podcast with another leader in your life, a school leader in your life, or a rising leader at your school. And I've been your host, Mark Minkus. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your hard work all year long. Thank you so much for taking some of your precious time to join me here today. And I'll see you next time right here on the Private School Leader Podcast. And always remember to serve first, lead second, and make a difference.